Yo,
Yo, what's good?
what's the word? What's the word?
Yo, everything is everything, man.
I mean, my guy Uncle Marvin in the building, man. I appreciate you for coming on.
All day, all day.
All right, so let's start before we even because I don't know if they know, but I know how heavy you are. You know what I mean into watching battle rap and the culture from way back. You know what I mean from when it first started. But let's start with your career. You know what I mean right now the heavy road that everybody talks about with you being in is Uncle Marvin on Raising Kanan. But before that, you know what I mean, you was on the Ballers with The Rock. Talk to me about that experience, like just being on that show and you know what I mean, getting to work with The Rock. Cause I know, I mean, that's crazy. Just thinking about it.
DNA sound professional. This is pretty good, DNA. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? On the show, you know what I mean? I try to make it a professional show.
No, man. So I started Ballers in 2014. I got a call to audition for that show, and I went in and just trying to be very prepared and all of that, and then basically the character's supposed to be reoccurring. For those who don't know, reoccurring just means that I was supposed to be on the show about maybe an episode or two, and then after my audition, they asked me if I wanted to be, basically they presented the option to be a lead on the show, and from there I had to move to Miami to film the first two seasons, and then I ended up moving back. We did the last three seasons in LA, so that was a very solid position for me because in season one, nobody knew who I was, but it was fortunately it was set up so that all of my scenes was with playing across from Dwayne. So that allowed people to see me even if they didn't want to see me,
Mm.
um, because I was so busy looking at Dwayne Johnson that all because all my scenes was with him, by default I got attention too. So it was just important for me to make the character very I need to create some energy around the character. So I made him super annoying, because that wasn't on paper at first. First off, Reggie was supposed to be fat,
Mm.
pause. So when I did the audition, I was in the audition with a bunch of heavy set guys, pause, that was there and that kind of thing, and a lot of homies that I knew. And so, but I think perhaps they just like what I was able to bring to the character, and as opposed to just doing a couple episodes, they decided to make him a lead. So I just want to just work the character as best I could so that it created enough energy around him so that they ended up keeping him for 5 seasons. So I try to be very clear about that. That I think I like to give God a lot of credit for that, or all the credit for that, because I mean I wasn't even supposed to be around supposed to be around like that. So the fact that it worked out from just being a couple episodes to 5 episodes, I'm very grateful.
Nah, that's definitely fire. Especially since you said at the beginning, you know what I mean. It was just supposed to be like a one or two thing, and then once they seen you get on there, it turned to an actual, you know what I mean, being a main character on the show.
Yeah.
Now, when we jump into Power, were you an avid watcher of Power before you not got this role with Raising Kanan?
Well, to go back, so Power was shooting at the same time that Ballers was shooting. So I never watched Power because I wanted to be a part of Power. But Um, I was very grateful for what I was doing on Ballers.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like I said, I knew that the streets watched. When I would run into people on the streets, they would always tell me they would watch Game of Thrones, Ballers, and Power. So I knew that my friends watched Power, so I just stayed away from it altogether. Um, so the fact that it lined up the way that it did after the fact, again, was just I got to give credit to God for just lining it all up, because I didn't watch Power. I didn't know nothing about it. Excuse me, other than the fact that I was just hearing about it in the streets.
Yeah.
So it it just lined up the way it did. Because as soon as I finished shooting ballers, then that's when Power came around like a few months later, and I'm grateful for that too, man.
Nah, that's a fact. So now let's just say this. I'm not saying this because you know what I mean. You my bro. I'm not saying this, you know what I mean, because you on here. But like on all these shows, right, where 50 is doing the powers or the BMFs, it's always the main character. Like Ghost is the main character on the original Power, but
Yeah.
everybody loves Tommy. Right now on BMF is Big Meech, but everybody loves Lamar. On Raising Kanan, it's Uncle Marvin. Now I mean it's about Kanan, but everybody when I'm talking to everybody is like, yo, yeah, I mean Uncle Marvin, and I mean that's the reason why I'm really tuning in. Marvin is a loose cannon. So my first question I got for you is right out of 100%, how much do you feel like you relate to Uncle Marvin?
On a
Like
lot
what
of levels.
similarities? Yeah,
On a lot of levels, minus the the killing,
yeah,
and the domestic violence part that he.
yeah. Somebody in here just said, yo, let's talk about him choking jukebox.
We'll jump into it.
Yeah,
Outside of what his encounter, his domestic violence stuff that he did with his daughter, and the killing stuff, I connect with Marvin all the way. As far as Marvin likes to be well kept, well groomed. He like to fly clothes. You know what I mean? He like the clean car and all of that. Marvin is a regular dude. You know what I mean? Even though he's coming out of the '90s, he's a very solid individual with issues though. People don't understand that Marvin is a regular dude. So, and I don't want to jump ahead of your interview, but or if you, I don't know, you probably got some questions on jukebox or whatever. But the thing about Marvin in general is that Marvin is a very regular street dude. He's a gangster for those he's a gangster for, but he's loyal to his family. So a lot of the loyalty part is where me and Marvin also connect. I'm very loyal to my family and want to hold them down and all of that. But I think that people just, if they really look at Marvin as a complete person, then they'd understand that Marvin's not out here trying to be a perfect individual. He's not that kind of dude. He's very complex. He got a lot of layers to him. He got a lot of sides to him. When he's low key, Marvin, if people really look at Marvin, Marvin is a little bit of everybody that's in the show as far as the
mm-hmm.
leads. Like when it comes to his leadership, he's rock. When he's a little aloof or he's out of touch a little bit, that's the young Kanan part of him. When he's dealing with women and being smooth and all of that, that's his brother. When he's dealing with his internal demons or issues, that's Jukebox. And when he's revengeful or he's lit, then that's Unique. So it's important for me when I play a character like Marvin to make them. I like to create a substratum of things that help to make Marvin a real person. Marvin is not just one note. He's not just the uncle that be eating. Everybody be thinking that he just, you know, silly and eating and that kind of thing. But Marvin is more than that. Marvin is a real person, and I think that's why when I run into people on the streets, they connect to all those sides of Marvin because they recognize, they see them, they see a little bit of themselves within the character of Marvin. Just he's a dude that's trying to get it right. He be messing up, but he got a lot of love for his family, and I think that's the part that people really tap into.
Nah, definitely, yeah. I feel like people said it in this chat, and I felt like that when I was watching it. Like everybody in their family in some way has an Uncle Marvin. You know what I mean?
Of course,
A loose cannon that you know what I mean that's going to protect their family. But you know what I mean? He got his own demons that he's dealing with. But you know what I mean? He's also the character, the cool uncle that you know what I mean. You can kick it with and you know what I mean. Tell him or you know what I mean. Talk to him. You know what I mean? That like I feel like everybody in their family got somebody like that. So that's why that character resonates a lot.
right?
Now, I mean, it's over. You know what I mean? So, whoever didn't watch it, binge watch it. You know what I mean? Season 1 is ended. Do we? Because it's a couple things that's mentioned without in season one. It's you know what I mean. Rob mentions to Kanan about Marvin's past on why he's not in the, I mean, same position as Lulu. Why, you know what I mean, she went with him instead of that, and things like that. Things that touch, you know what I mean, the past of, you know what I mean, Uncle Marvin to extent. Don't go into it too much because they gotta tune in for season two. But do you feel like the character is brought to life even more in this upcoming season? You know what I mean, in terms of like the past. Like, do we get to know more of why he's this way right now in the current time?
Absolutely. I think we without giving away too much in season two, we just go further into the details of why the characters are the way they are. As far as even within this prequel, we give another layer of a breakdown of why again we address the issues that they have. I know for Marvin, and you know we definitely tap into that, and that's important too because a lot of times, man, in general, people are quick to write off people they feel are difficult, but and they're dismissive to a lot of people that are going through issues. But it's not until people slow down sometimes and talk to those people who got issues, then you realize, oh, they're not just crazy, or they're not just a drug addict, or necessarily, but you figure out. I do a lot of work with homeless people. You know what I mean? So when I deal with homeless people, on the surface, we can be quick to say, excuse me, that they're just drug addicts or whatever. But as I sat down to to talk with them in the past before, I realized that a lot of times some of those people are veterans who didn't get medical benefits or whatnot. They're people who went through depression because they lost their wife, they lost their home, they lost their job. And then you say, oh man, you're not just this thing that we think you are. You got a lot of other stuff with you. And it's the same way when it comes to Marvin. Well, Marvin is a street dude, he's a gangster and all of that. But in season two, we start to peel back the layers and get to the undergird of what makes Marvin of who he is. And so I think people will appreciate that for season two.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I also it's the last. And I mean, after this, I'm gonna ask you some battle questions.
No
But
worries. Take your time, bro. It's all good.
on this last one, it's also too like when you say that, right? Because that's something on the surface. And a lot of people are always judgmental until they in that position, like what you were saying about homeless people. Because somebody be like, how could you be homeless, or how could you have no money in your pocket? But it's situations in life or mistakes that people make in choices, and you've been in that position, or you might be in that position, you know what I mean, as life goes on. So you know what I mean, that was dope you explained that. But something else that me, because when I watch shows, I never watch it from, you know what I mean, surface level. I watch it, you know what I mean, for the inner messages. Like, even because this is a real thing where I feel like the show connects. Even at the end of season one, when Lou is you know what I mean, getting out the fire, and he's really embarking on this music thing, and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
when he tells Rye he's trying to you know what I mean, leave the game, like, yo, you bugging, you going at it with cops, you got Kanan, you know what I mean, killing people and all that. And it's quick to, like, and now with the BMF show going on, it's like in the streets, when people are not a part of that, or don't really understand that culture, they always go, yo, once you sold this many drugs, that's why niggas get caught. Because, you know what I mean, why don't they just leave it alone? Why don't they just I mean, stop? You made
Yeah.
enough before you get caught. But it's not easy. It's never that easy. You know what I mean? In this situation, it's a sister that, you know what I mean, feels like she hasn't done enough, and you wouldn't even have money to do music if it wasn't for me. So you gonna stick this ride out until I feel like it's over. And then, you know what I mean, on the flip side with BMF, it's like, you know what I mean, when people are when there's so many people that fall in line while selling drugs, it's never easy to get out of there, because
Yeah.
somebody else is depending on you to do your job. So when you say, I don't want nothing to do with this no more, it's a chain effect that you know what I mean,
Absolutely.
messes things up. So like, this is not even really a question. That was more like a just a synopsis of, like, you know what I mean, how deep I feel like the inner message of the show is showing you. You know what I mean? You see somebody that engaged in something and now they found something else that they embarking on, but they just can't, you know what I mean, leave it alone. And then with your character, you know what I mean, she was done with you because of the mistake with the you know what I mean, with
Right.
Kanan, but now it's like, you know what I mean, you get out of jail, you probably gonna be in position to be the right hand based on how everything flipped with Lulu. So yeah, just to piggyback over what you were saying with you know what I mean,
Right.
things not looking like they are on the surface, that's definitely something else too, because that's like a big thing in that life.
Absolutely. 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 I think, yeah, but that's the thing. With that, I think a lot of people just don't understand. Like, to touch on to this real quick, and because even the inside joke that everybody's doing online is talking about Marvin in the car. You know, he Marvin is wrecking all the cars, wrecking all the cars and all of that.
Yeah.
And people, and I'm breaking this down so that, because I try to do this on each of the platforms, so people understand. A lot of people just don't understand. Marvin is not a dude that's crashing cars in the parking lot of Target. If he was, it ain't like 12 noon and he just backing up hitting cars. The first time, and this goes back to the layers and just understanding the reality of the situation. The first time when Marvin got into the car accident, his nephew was in the stash house, and so Marvin don't even know what's going on. All he know is that there's an unfamiliar car that's parked in front of the stash house where his nephew is, and there's some dudes with some ski masks on. And so Marvin, if that whatever Marvin got to do, he got to interrupt it, whatever program or agenda they got going on. So when he pulls up, if that means he got to hit somebody, that means wrecking his car, it don't matter. His nephew was in there. He got to just, that's his way of distracting whatever the situation, whatever's going on. Marvin's gonna interrupt it.
Mm-hmm.
People got to understand. You know, people expect. I don't know, people, cause a lot of people, they young, they don't understand. Understand. A lot of people ain't been in the streets before. They don't know street people. Marvin is being shot at with these guns. Marvin is not finna parallel park, and he don't have that kind of time. He gotta get to the situation immediately. If that means wrecking his car to the other vehicle, he gonna do that. Somebody get hit, somebody get shot, whatever. If he was gonna get Marvin, if Marvin was gonna get shot, it didn't matter. His nephew was in there. That's the loyalty that he
Mm.
has for his family. The second time he does it, it was right after Rock said to him, she says, you know, that he's out the family business, you know, business, whatever. So Marvin on the way home, you know, grab a little drink. He drive. He got to drop off whatever work he got left. They shooting at him. It's late. Marvin finna interrupt it again. Those cars, those expensive cars, didn't mean nothing to Marvin when it come to the loyalty of his family.
Mm-hmm.
And people, it just at this point not annoys me in a serious way,
Yeah.
but it annoys me for the character and for the people that don't understand that Marvin is not, people talking about his insurance gonna be expensive and all of that. Ain't no, Marvin ain't doing no paperwork. Marvin ain't got no paperwork. He's a street dude. He flipping cars every, you know, maybe every other couple months, a few months. He out he pushing work in these cars. So that card didn't mean nothing when it comes to the loyalty. And so a lot of people that are responding, talking about you messing up the cars and all that, they don't understand the loyalty kind of thing. They don't understand the street life, how that works. I know for me as London, I got a lot of loyalty to my friends and my family. Shout out to Hollow the Don, you know, loyalty over money and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. You know what I mean? As far as the core values and things beyond the material, tangible things is way more important. People who've lost people understand what it's like to where you don't care about material things like that. It's a different level. But I understand a lot of young people watch the show, so they don't understand the maturity of a move like that where you just wreck a Benz that you go to take care of your family. I know that. I'm not judging. I'm just giving the breakdown so that when people watch this, they'll be like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. Even I'll give you one more. Because I don't want to be verbose about this, but at the end of the scene, when Marvin is shooting at Neek, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people like, man, but he didn't shoot nobody. What's going on with that? Let me explain. First of all, this how I know a lot of people that are replying ain't been in the streets like that. The kind of gun that Marvin was using at the end or at the beginning of episode 9 when he was gunning for Neek. That gun is not ideally used for accuracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gun, the way the rounds let off, those guns are used to get people just to back up and calm down, so that people that's coming up with something, a handgun, the handguns are used for the accuracy, not not what Marvin was using with the drum on it. That's just used to lay people, to just get them to back off and calm down. Marvin did catch a body, one of Neek's boys. Marvin's not the kind of dude that's trying to get. He ain't, if you ain't involved in a situation, he ain't trying to kill you because you ain't got nothing to do with it. Marvin specifically was aiming for Neek. Neek's car was bulletproof. I'm like, people talking about, man, you had that big old gun, but you didn't shoot nobody. He was gunning for Neek. But the car was bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Now he caught the one dude residually. He caught him, but on a reality level, this is why you got so many senseless killings in the hood by innocent standby people that were standing by innocently, because gangsters are not going to gun practice on the weekends trying to get the accuracy. When you think it annoys me because I'm like, people just don't understand street life and none of that. They think that Marvin's gonna be out there like a sniper, or marksman, gunning, shooting people down accurately. Marvin is a street dude. In
Mm-hmm.
real life, because when we see the movies, we see the gangsters holding the gun, the pistols, and everything to the side. You're
Mm.
not gonna get no accurate shot holding the gun to the side.
Yeah.
I'm training with the same people that's been training with um Keanu Reeves for John Wick. There's a certain kind of way you gotta hold that gun and make sure that things are lined up and everything like that for safety purposes, so that we don't. I don't even talk about the other show, but there was another show where somebody actually got hit. But
Mm.
besides, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
the point is that even when we doing the training, we got to learn it right, so that even if we play it off, we still make it it's safety and all of that. So when I'm looking at people talking about, man, Marvin didn't hit nobody, I'm like, he wasn't gunning for everybody. He was very specific with that. But then also, it's TV. So it's it's if I can if Marvin kill off everybody, that's the end of the episode. We gotta write ambulance coming in there and all of that. We gotta talk about what happens
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Neek can't go yet. Now, I mean, we gotta
We
keep,
can't.
we gotta keep that story
Come
going. I
on,
mean,
D. The DNA pause. We gotta make sure that we create the story as drama as all of that. So, and not to be vociferous about this, but it's just I'm just giving this breakdown because I know a lot of you followers watch the show, but I gotta explain that part so they don't be sitting there talking about why Marvin didn't shoot everybody. That's a different show if everybody actually died.
yeah,
That ain't, it's the end of the episode, it's the end of the season. It gotta be some drama into it. Marvin gotta miss a little bit, and so that Unique might come back for Vengeance in season 2. I don't know. I'm not here to just drop any extra juice, but I'm just saying that we gotta create the Mysterion going into the next season. That's all. So you got it, man. No more talking for me.
Nah, it's all good, man. Speaking of that, when you kept mentioning people being from the streets, the number one thing I brought it to battle rap. It's a current thing now. Every time it's an event, everybody always says the streets need a body. They need a body every time. You know what I mean? It's an event. I mean, they ask, yo, did the streets get a body? When you heard that being said, did you? Cause Unique said it to Rob after D Wiz got killed. And then eventually it turned to the song with Jukebox and Famous. But before that, I think me and you was conversating about that where you didn't like did the people on the show think that was going to take off? Because that's like one of the biggest things people take from season one.
I don't
That
think
saying.
honestly, I don't think they knew like that. And not to discredit them, because that's one of those quotables. Streets need a body. It's so quotable. I'm like, it made me feel like it. It feels like it was already out in the streets the way people quote it, and I just don't. A lot of things are like that. You know what I mean? That like we just didn't know was going to be a thing for the show. But I'm glad people. I'm glad people really watch the show and rock with the small nuances of the show like that. Like streets need a body, but streets need a body. That phrase, it just encapsulates a whole lot of different elements. Like everyone, people who know it or understand it get all of what street that phrase. They get all what that entails. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just glad when I hear it, it just let me know that people are watching the show. And that's appreciated, absolutely.
On that note, since we dived in to battle rap, let me. I don't know if this is putting you on the spot. It might be, but we gonna see. What's your top five battle rappers?
Top five battle rappers. All right, Sue Surf.
Good one.
Sue Surf, New Jersey Twerk.
Good one.
Um, I'm gonna give you this one because this actually has changed. I think from the last time I was asked this about, but I'm gonna go with Sue Surf. I'm gonna go with Tay Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go. Man, this gets tough. This gets tough. Pause. Surf, Rock. Man, man. Sue Surf. I'm gonna go with Sean, K. Sean, Sue Surf, K. Sean, and then I'm gonna go with Easy.
Okay.
Oh man.
So you said five though.
Oh god. All right, man. Cause I, no. You know what? I'm gonna make Easy 6 because he is new. But I'm a big fan of Easy, man, because the way he gun it. I'm gonna put like him in chess. There's like 6 and 7.
Okay.
I like them, but I'm a reserve them because they are still part of the new class, and I'm gonna put Geechee. So we got Surf, Twerk,
Mm-hmm.
Rock, Geechee, and not because I'm doing the interview with you, because you whatever, but I'm gonna put you in the top 5 as well. Those are my 5 right there. I'm gonna go with that 5 right there. That's where I'm at with it, man. And I think the top 5 that I'm running with have all very much so established themselves on lots of levels, got lots of wins
Yeah.
and range and all. And you know what I mean? And
But
just
also too, depending on the event, depending on what happens, it's interchangeable because it's a lot of killers. You know what I mean? So
and that's not in any particular order.
yeah.
That's just as they run because because when I think of each one of those battle rappers, they all they understand crowd work. They understand like they understand the penmanship that it takes, and like you never know, like each one of those folks are like a character. Even if when it comes to battle rap, when they get on stage, they become a thing. Like there's a flow, there's a cadence
Yeah.
that when you hear the flow, you be like, oh, that's DNA flow, or that's twerk flow, or that's such and such. So it's one of those things, man. And like you said, and they're interchangeable because sometimes when it's their season, it's their season. Like K Sean had a season, and then Surf had a season or gun titles.
Yeah.
When they joined the Pauls, they was a that's a thing. So everybody has their niche, man. I just got a lot of respect. Really, that's ultimately what it is. Those five plus a few, shout out to Shotgun Suge and Arsenal and a lot of others. I just got a lot of respect for in the culture.
Nah, definitely, definitely. What's the battle that got you tuned in? Like, you know what I mean? Like to be heavy with yo, I'm rocking with battle rap. I'm watching this. That
You know what?
made
I
you
go out
support.
when I kind of first got into it. I think it was probably shout out to Mook and Sirius Jones.
Mm,
I think it was Mook and Sirius Jones. Um, Early on, where I kind of just was like, I was like, all right, I see what's going on. And this was low key when I first got into it. This is kind of like when YouTube wasn't even YouTube then. It
yeah,
was
yeah. If you talking Serious Jones and Mook,
yeah,
it's like
YouTube was just like this other thing.
yeah, that
It
when
was like
Serious Jones and Mook battle, what 06, 07, I'm
right,
trying to
and
get
this was
somewhere around there.
we talking
Yeah.
about Rex in the Park. You know,
Mm,
early on, before it was, before it was an event.
yeah.
It was just like when it was just an event. Here in New York, it was just an event. But by the time I got to it, I was like, okay, Sirius Jones, and and by the time and then it started to globalize and start to move around. Um, that's when I like to give it up to shout out to Mook and Sirius Jones on
Shout
on,
out to
on
both of
those
them.
battles, man, because that's
Facts.
where I was just like, oh, and what's wild about it is that it's like these battles ultimately, I think they get slept on because people just think that it's just like, oh, they just kind of just gloss it over with the idea that, oh, that's just some street battle rap. But when you really break down the core of it, the essence of it, each one of y'all are poets on a whole other level that's not traditional. You know what I mean? Because it's so funny now because I see cats as spoken word emulating the energy of battle rap, and I know
Mm,
because I follow the culture. So when I see them and they be in they drink they shea butter shakes before they get on stage and they smell like incense, you know what I mean, and carburetor oil, and they get on stage with their dreadlocks and all of that, and they dashikis. But I know the cadence of battle rap, so I'm like, oh, they doing battle rap cadence in this, loungy,
mm-hmm.
woke audience. I'm not knocking nobody, no disrespect, but I'm saying I can tell. I say, oh, they've been watching battle rap. That's what that is. Even if the audience don't even know that the cadence of this poetry that they spitting is coming from battle rap, I know. I'll be like, okay, yeah, and I can even hear sometimes the battle rapper that has influenced them the way they deliver their stuff because they come with the same aggression. Pause. They come with the same aggression of battle rap, but they be talking about something totally unrelated.
Mm,
Something it could be about, it could be about skin, and and the and skin. Make sure your skin is smooth as butter, but make sure when your skin is smooth as butter, you don't utter. I'll be like, yo, that's K. Sean flow. That's such and such flow. It be aggressive. I'm like, it's too aggressive for what they talking about. I know that's the influence of battle rap. I'm not knocking nobody. I ain't knocking nobody. Shout out to the spoken word artists. I'm just saying, but battle rap culture has influenced regular life. So shout out to all the battle rappers and all of that.
got you. Definitely, definitely. I definitely agree, man. Let me ask you this, right? If you could three battles that never happened in the culture. You know what I mean? They say, I mean, London, we need you to put together these three battles that you personally want to see. What's three of them?
You know what? All right. Well, let me say this too. First off, and let me start with this. I wish that Rex and Kayshawn, I wish that battle would have never happened. That
Mm.
mess that touched my heart when they battled. I just I just I hated to see culturally them as brothers. I hated to see them go at it like that because I just that would be the same as like if you and Charlie Clips went at it or something. I just like some battle
Mm.
you just don't want to see that like
Yeah, I feel you.
whatever the internal differences are. You just like, man, I don't want to see that, man. That was just rough. It was hard to even just watch the pause. It was hard to watch the battle because them niggas was brothers. I was just like, but battles that hadn't been or wouldn't I mean at this point I think I've seen whatever battles even recently. I think I've seen the battles that I didn't think the cause I didn't think was going to be cause I have become them. Or you know what? It'd be interesting to see a couple cars revisited. Um, it'd be interesting because I don't know if Rock ever got. I don't know if Rock ever revisited the battle with Kayshawn because it was when they first did it. That was in that small corner store spot.
Yeah, now they did. They rebattled again 2 years ago.
Oh, see, yeah, I got to go back and watch that joint. But some of those classic battles like that, I like the fact that Tay Rock even went back to visit clips like that, and just because interestingly enough, I think that, and this is me, I'm not saying that, you know what it is, but the fact that Rock if lost, if you want to call it that, to K-Shine at in that storefront or even lost the clips or whatever, those battles created the monster that we see in Rock today.
Mm.
If he didn't take those L's, he would be a different person. But I think it generated a different kind of thing where Rock came back, you know, vengeance on everybody and anybody. But so I don't know, man. As far as other battles, I think most of the battles, if there were any battles I wanted to see, I think I've seen them. You know, as far as it's hard to even say because most of the battles, like I said, the fact that a lot of battles have happened, the matches that I wanted to see have happened. But I'm just and just for the record, that touched my heart when Rex and K. Sean. I just didn't. I still hate thinking about that battle because watching battle rap and just hearing the way they were as a camp, I just thought they was brothers to the end when it came to that. So I just didn't. I didn't like, and I consider K-Shine the little brother of Rex. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that at all. That I still don't. That don't sit right with me. I mean, I know it ain't even that serious. They probably moved on and eat chicken strips together and all of that. But it still messes with me because on the outside looking at it, I just that messed me up.
No, I feel you. I feel you. My last battle rap question I got for you when and of course we talked about this off camera, but when schedules permit and all that, can we see Uncle Marvin London in the building live for an event? Now I mean, cause when that like always watching it, and then when you there, it's always a different type of energy. I've heard people tell me that all the time.
You know what? I would have been if they would allow me to fly because right now they just keep everything and try to make sure that we stay healthy and all and that kind of thing. Um, while we in the middle of shooting, but if they was in New York, then I would have called the battles. But I know y'all was in Houston and that kind of thing, so I couldn't get out there. And then the last joint y'all was in L.A. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to pull up, man, because I know the energy is crazy. Because it's crazy that Summer Madness with K-Shine and Surf back in the day.
Oh yeah, that's Summer Madness one.
Like
Webster
that
Hall.
energy was crazy. The one where Calico battle Math. That
That's
one, I remember
that
that
that's
energy was
that's the
crazy.
same one.
Oh, that was on the same card.
Yeah, that was Ball Summer Madness
Oh
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was that card. That energy. I didn't even know that. That card was just crazy. Just the energy in the room and watching the battles. I know it's crazy in there. And then I also remember the one with Rex and Calico or Lux. Who was that Hitman? Who Lux battle when Diddy was in the room? When Puff was
That
in the
was
room?
Calico. Summer Madness 2.
Oh wait, so, okay. So who did Rex battle then? Who was Rex battle?
Aver.
Yeah, that battle right there was crazy. But then also I like the one with Rex and with Calico.
Yeah, that was Summer Madness 3.
Yeah, that was like I mean the energy like we can only get so much from watching it, but I, we still be excited for the battles just watching them, and even it be days later or whatever, or when y'all went to the smaller rooms when Twerk battle Aver,
Mm.
that room when he's standing over the body with the hoodie off,
Mm-hmm.
that room just erupted. I can only imagine what the atmosphere is like inside the building, and that's. But I realized too that I don't know if it was you or somebody also mentioned like sometimes or a lot of y'all mentioned how being in the room is one thing, but then also the battles can look another way when people got time to actually slow down and dissect the bars, and you really at home when you really look at what really listen to what
Yeah,
y'all.
always, always. Yeah, it's always a different. A lot.
That's
Sometimes it's very rare that it's not a different story. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is what you've seen. It still appears that way when you watch it back. But a lot of times, you know, what I mean, things always look differently when you watch them back for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a different thing, man. So I got a lot of appreciation for the culture, man. So it's and peace be upon my brother, but who passed away. I just that's why I'm like the people that know me understand that like just to even do this interview and that kind of thing. If they know me, then they know I follow the culture heavy. So it's just crazy how whole thing just connected full circle. And when I've done a few lives and I catch, Twerk or when that time we had a chance to FaceTime K Shine and that
Yeah.
kind of thing, people jump. All they don't even know, man. Like just going back and following the culture so heavy for so long, and to where it's like a ritual. Just I anticipate the battles and just seeing who's on the new card and all of that kind of thing, man. So I'm just grateful, man, that it all worked out like this, man. Absolutely.
Nah, definitely, man. We definitely appreciate. Know what I mean, we appreciate you tapping into the culture and know what I mean, just you was a supporter of the culture before we even knew. But watching the show, everybody in the community, you know what I mean, definitely waiting for season 2. Definitely waiting to see what Uncle Marvin does next, and even past that show, like, you know what I mean, I feel like you know what I mean, movie roles and all that is on the way. So I feel like that's gonna be crazy.
Absolutely, man. It's appreciated, man. It's appreciated for sure.
Nah, good looking for pulling up. I'm gonna definitely tap you in. The next event is December 18th in LA again, but I'm gonna let you know about that card because you know what I mean, it's gonna
Okay.
be crazy.
No, man. It's appreciated, man. Thank you. I appreciate you just reaching out and just we being able to connect, man. Thanks, man, so much, man. Absolutely, absolutely.
Nah, got you. I bet I'm gonna hit you.